Hey everyone, welcome to BelleAire Radio. I'm your host, Kelly, and I'm here with Tyrone.
Yes. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good.
Now, Tyrone's not new to BelleAire Radio. Tyrone has done a couple segments with BelleAire Radio here on Bennett College campus, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So what has your segments in the past been about?
Well, most of my segments in the past have been more so on social media, and the impact social media has on society, more so how can it affect relationships. Yes,
right.
ma'am.
And I feel like social media plays a big part in relationships, friendships.
Yes.
Boyfriend and girlfriend, boyfriend and boyfriend.
Yes,
like it's just so much. So what have you found out new, or what are you working on new?
Well, new. I started actually at A&T. I'm over auditioning for the Aggie News and Views.
That's good.
Possibly, potentially, maybe an anchor there, or maybe just be on camera, behind camera, and I'm also going to be here at Bennett again this semester to get more involved with these guys' projects and hopefully get involved in the radio club as well. Just more so just trying to get better as a person and make sure I better myself, try to make sure I get into this radio field.
Right.
That's more of my dream goal, so getting involved with you guys because I know Bennett is a great college as well, and you guys have a great background, great potential, great woman that came from Bennett, so just being around the positive people, making sure that I expand myself, and that's the main goal. But
so what makes a guy from A&T come to Bennett to take a class?
Thank God for consortium. You
right.
know, the intro to radio class was actually filled.
Okay.
So with me trying to graduate in December, my only other option was
Bennett College.
Yes, Bennett, and thankfully and luckily, Mr. Lipscombe had enough room in his class, and he made me welcome, and I definitely enjoyed this class. I learned a lot as far as the nuances in the radio, how to the importance of being prepared before interviews and things of that sort, just to name a few examples. But
was it awkward for you because it's an all-girls school? Was there any other guys in the class?
Well, in exception to me, it was actually one other guy as well.
Okay.
My good friend Joe. Joe actually attends A&T as well. As far as being awkward, no, not at all. Who doesn't want to be around a woman, as a guy, but yeah, it wasn't awkward at all.
Okay. Now, if you would have known about the consortium between A&T and Bennett sooner, would you have taken classes here sooner?
Oh, yes. Most definitely. Just so I can get away from my campus, you know, just to see what Bennett's like. Have more experience with different people. Have more network people to talk to, just experiences. But I definitely would have, yes, ma'am.
Well, I'm so excited that you're part of BelleAire Radio, and you guys will hear more of Tyrone here on BelleAire Radio in different segments this year. But this year is also another special year because we are bringing in the 90th anniversary. And in this segment, we sit down with President Fuse Hall, and she talks about some of the events that are going to be happening this year, as well as Simone Baker sits down with Miss Audrey Franklin for the Bells in Motion, and she talks about the contributions that she has made and continues to make here at Bennett College. Hey everyone, welcome to our new series, From the President's Desk. I'm Kelly, and I'm in the office, and this is going to be a very special series because we're going to talk about campus life here at Bennett College. I have the pleasure of sitting down with President Fuse Hall, talking to her about things that are going on here at Bennett. So what can we expect from this year?
I'm so excited that this is our 90th anniversary as a women's college. In 1926, we were reestablished to educate African American women specifically, and for 90 years we have been doing that. It was just such a revolutionary idea back in 1926, and yet now we're standing boldly facing the future and having many wonderful and talented young women come to us, grow, and transform themselves into the future leaders. So this is a very exciting year.
Now, we were talking earlier, and you were telling me about how you never have thought about becoming a president. Now, you're president for a women's college, so how does that feel now?
I tell you, Kiara, this is my third year being at Bennett College, and never in my wildest dreams did I ever think I would be a college president. But I must say it's truly the most rewarding job I've ever had. In actuality, it's my dream job.
Right.
This is what I want to do for the rest of my career. Working with talented young women such as yourselves, helping you actualize and fulfill your dreams of what you want to do to make a difference in the world. There could be no greater work, and there could be no greater time for me to spend than working with our faculty, our staff, our alumni, and other area supporters, ensuring that you have a high-quality academic environment in which to thrive and soar.
Now, here at Bennett, we have this thing called the Bennett Ideal. What is your definition of a Bennett Ideal?
Well, in my mind, I say we judge her like any diamond. She's competent, she's confident, she's cultured because of the fine arts and the other things that we acquaint you with, and she is committed to social justice, which is a part of our long history here at Bennett College. Our women have always stood up for those who didn't have a voice because we as women understand what that silence is like.
Now, we're talking about the 90th year anniversary here at Bennett College. Is there any special event that you can tell us about that's coming up for us?
Well, I'm very excited to tell you that we're going to have a descendant of the first president when we became a women's college to serve as our Charter Day speaker.
Oh, wow.
She is an outstanding scholar at the University of Michigan Law School, and she is his granddaughter. So we're really looking forward to that in the fall.
Yeah, that's very exciting. Thank you, President Fuse Hall, for having me. And now I want you to join us here next time, here from the President's Desk. And also, don't worry, you can be with us throughout the whole school year while we celebrate the 90th year anniversary here at Bennett College. Now let's go into our next segment with Simone Baker, Bells in Motion, where she sits down with Miss Audrey Franklin, Executive Director of Alumni Relations.
It's Bells in Motion, where Bennett Bells do it well. Here is Miss Audrey Demps Franklin, our Belle in Motion. So what does it mean to be a Bennett Belle?
Simply what you just said, to be a Belle in Motion, to always be active in your community. Always understand that as a Bennett Belle, you have an obligation to help other Bennett Belles along the way and then help other people along the way. So that's the essence. So it doesn't have anything to do with whatever career you choose, but it's just that whatever your chosen profession is, that you do it the best that you can, because Belles always do it well, and that you always, in my perspective, have Bennett somewhere in the forefront.
What was your journey like here at Bennett College?
Absolutely marvelous. I came to Bennett from a very small town in Florida. First time I'd been away from home by myself. I came during a time when it was almost at the end of all of the sit-ins and movements when Bennett was taking a new turn. For instance, when I came to Bennett, we were in the middle of protest because you couldn't wear pants on campus except on Saturday morning. You couldn't go anywhere without a group of young ladies, and you couldn't have men on campus except for certain times, and it was mandatory classes. So I came at the transition between kind of shifting toward a more liberal Bennett, but not too liberal, but still maintaining those traditions that were in place. So I got a chance to have a little of both worlds and had some good mentors as faculty and staff members, but also as big sisters and friends.
What kind of woman has Bennett made you?
That's a question that we just had a discussion about a couple of weeks ago with me and some of my Bennett sisters. And I think what Bennett has done is taken those skills and values that I learned as a young adult at home and directed those. I understood that I had those values, but I didn't know all that I could do with them. And it also just taught me that there were no limitations in what I could do.
How has Bennett helped you become a leader in your personal and your professional life?
Well, one of the things at Bennett, we always were taught that you can do anything that you want to do and you can do it well. So, and being at Bennett and having the opportunity to be in leadership roles, it's almost a natural flow that when you graduate from Bennett, one of the goals is that you become a leader in the professions that you do. And I always go into a position in an organization that I'm in, starting at the bottom, but understanding the bottom is not always where I'm going to be. So you work toward your final goal of being one of the leaders in the organization. It doesn't always mean you have to be the president. It always means that whatever position you take, you do it the best of your ability, you learn from that position, and then you be ready to move on to the next position that you choose.
Out of all the HBCUs, Bennett College is ranked number 2 in alumni giving. How have you helped contribute to that?
You know, that's I don't think my part is a big part in it, and that's what's so amazing about the job that I do. It's an easy job because one of the things that I have learned, even as serving as national president of the Alumni Association, always being engaged, because I actually was engaged in the alumni office when I was a student. So I have watched from 1968 until now alums give and their dedication to the college. So It's not a hard job for us because alums love Bennett. And one of the things that we have been taught is that giving back and helping your alma mater is a part of what you do. So it's always amazing to me when you have alums who maybe been out of school 50 years, 60 years, 70 years, and they send a check for $1,000 with a letter saying all of the things that Bennett has done for her over the years. Is just the most amazing thing that I've seen. So for Bennett, it is an easy fix because they love Bennett. They want to see Bennett thrive. And so mine is not always an ask about money, but just a continued connection. If someone dies in their family, I send a card, or I'll call some of their classmates to call them. So it's not the standard fundraising piece that makes Bennett alums gives. It's the fact that Bennett stays in touch with them. And so I like to think that my part is always being connected with those people, whether they're giving $1,000, $25,000, or $1, because I think anything that they give is important to us and it's important to them.
How does the Bennett College experience strengthen a student to become a leader?
I think the average student now has to understand that they have to be engaged and involved, and if they do that, it's almost like an automatic. You know, it's something that we look at all the time, and even Ms. Sanders, who is our Director of Communications, has asked me what makes Bennett Bells so special. But I think when they come on the campus, they hear the history of those alums who've gone through them, and then if they take that history and they take the opportunities that are available now, then it's almost like an automatic. It's not something that you actually can teach in a class, but I think if they're engaged and they listen and they learn the stories, and then they take those stories, and even though it might be a story that happened in 1953 or 56, but if they take that same story, because it actually is the same thing that's happening, it's just a different time and some of the circumstances, and then they apply that to what is happening now, then it's almost a part of what happens to them. And you can't really see it, but it's there.
Do you believe that campus involvement can help a student in their future?
Oh, absolutely. They can't learn to be a leader if they don't become a leader when they're at Bennett. They can't just pick it up, because I think they have to have those experiences, and sometimes those experiences lead to some mistakes that they make. But you know, mistakes are part of what makes you a better person. I think that they have to be engaged in the campus to then become engaged in the community in which they serve. And I'm just a firm believer that wherever you live, if it's Bennett, if it's Greensboro, if it's California, you have to be a part of that community, to understand the community, and then become engaged in it.
What would you tell a prospective student who is considering Bennett College?
Come. It's the best place that you can be to grow, to develop, and there are so many opportunities to be in leadership roles, to be, you know, we hear Bennett talk about the sisterhood. I'm here to say that sisterhood is a real part of what happens.
With Bennett being your alma mater, do you ever just walk around campus and have memories of some of the experiences here on campus?
Oh, absolutely. When I was coming over here today, I was walking down the hill next to the Student Union, and I can remember the first time I saw snow, and I rolled down that same hill. But every time I walk into the Student Union, when we were in school, there was fun night on Thursday nights, and so many of us met our future husbands on fun night on Thursday night. So every once in a while, I can actually walk in the Student Union and hear some music playing, and then every time I walk into the chapel, I just think about all the good memories I had. And you know, chapel was our safe place when we were in school. If you were just really having a bad day, or if something was really bothering you, you could walk into the chapel, you know, even at night, and sit in there, and a peace would come over you. You know, so, and then every time I hear the alma mater, I can remember learning it. So, you know, it's not every day, but just some days it just hits you. And then sometimes it's when I hear a student say something, and I remember having some of those same complaints when I was a student. And I think every time there is a student, an alum who comes back, the same thing happens. So sometimes I think the students who are here now, when they see alums and they're on campus, especially if it's an alum hadn't been to campus since she graduated, and she started talking about what used to happen when she was in school. And so it's really not directed at the student, but they're really just going back and reminiscing of the days when they were here. And that's normal, and it's a good thing.
Mm-hmm. What are some of the differences that you see now with us Bennett Bells from the time that you graduated in 1972?
But I think one of the things that happens is more students stay off campus. So, and I don't see anything wrong with staying off campus, but one of the things that does is there's not the same amount of cohesiveness because you don't get a chance to know your sisters like we did. Because, if you spend hours in the dorm, and of course we had a 9 o'clock curfew, so what do you do from 9 to 11 or 12 or 1? We get to know each other. So I think that's the main difference, is that you don't, and then you have a different generation, so it might not work with the technology you do anyhow. But for me, the main difference is that you don't get a chance to get to know all of your sisters, not just that group that you hang with.
What are some similarities that you see?
Even though the issues may be a little different, but they wind up being the same. And I'm going to go back even further than me. I remember when I first graduated, and I was active in the Alumni Association, I was in a meeting with some alums who had graduated 50 years before me. They graduated in 1946 and 1953, and I graduated in 1972. So we were sitting in a meeting, and they were talking about the young ladies who were on campus and how they were, sitting on the wall, getting in cars with guys. And one of those ladies in 1943 said, "You know what, she needs to be quiet because we did the same thing." She looked at me, she said, "Sweetheart, nothing has changed. We did some of the same things you're doing. We had issues. We had Student Government Association issues, so the issues haven't changed. It's just how you deal with them." So I think that's a similarity. We complained about the food in the cafeteria, even though now we looked at it and it was good food. So some of those things have not changed. The administration talks about what you wear. They talked about what we wear because, I came from a miniskirt generation. So those conversations are still the same. And the other part is basically the young ladies who have Bennett now still, I think, feel a love for Bennett that just grows on them once they get there. And that's the biggest piece for me is once they come on campus, they own the fact that they're Bennett Bells. And I have not seen that change the entire time that I have been around. I'm very happy when I see the students at Bennett because I realize that their way of doing it might not be the same way that I do it, but it makes me very comfortable when I see the students on campus that I know that in another 50 years, when I'm celebrating my whatever anniversary or not even here, that Bennett has a future, and I think that you all will carry the torch and carry it well.
Oh, well, thank you. I do appreciate that. This is Miss Audrey Demps Franklin, our Belle in Motion.
Well, last year here at Bennett College, we had a group by the name of V3 come to Bennett, and they performed in our chapel, and I had a chance to speak with Vic McLean, who is the president and CEO of the Virtual Oso Music. So let's check that interview out right now. And also, let's hear from V3, and we'll close with one of their songs. Mr. Vic, how did you get into the music industry?
My mother, Bennett Bell, was a music major here, and I grew up, she was a piano teacher, and I grew up listening to kids trying to learn how to play the piano. I would sneak in when she was having her lessons and sit underneath the piano and listen every week. And I didn't realize how much I loved music until I got out of college and realized this is the business that I wanted to be in. Everything that I studied, I ultimately helped with what I'm doing, but was not directly connected. So I got into it. I was fortunate enough to be around some really good, helpful mentoring type people, and they got me started at Warner Brothers, and I grew from there.
That's good. So being that you are Dr. Reverend McLean's brother, how is that?
Well, it's just been, she's the most wonderful person that I know. And to see Natalie from we were little, growing up, and her evolution, because you got to remember, she was in chemistry and research, but we come from a family of ministers. And so she was called into ministry about 20 years ago and left Chapel Hill where she was into AIDS research, went to Duke. From there, I prayed every day because there was an opportunity for her to be chaplain. Now, my mother went here. My uncle was the original director of religious studies, both for A&T and for Bennett. So technically, he was a chaplain here in the early 60s. And I prayed every day that she would get the opportunity to be chaplain. So now, my uncle was chaplain in the early 60s, and now she's the chaplain. And it's just been marvelous to watch how she's evolved as a minister. I remember the first time she preached, I was too nervous to listen. I was just, that's my baby sister up there, she's preaching. But her interaction with the young ladies here at Bennett and what an important school this is and the tradition that Bennett has, I'm just so happy that she's here, and she's been well received by all the students who you can't help but love her.
So what is it like working with the music group B3?
Well, they're particularly enjoyable to work with because I have the feeling that if you're going to sing gospel, you should live gospel,
Right.
and that's what they do, and it makes everything more sincere when it's coming from the right place. So they are particularly enjoyable to work with. I can't say that about everybody that's a part of my company.
Right.
So I look forward to any time that I get to interact with them, and what my hopes for them are they get to spread their ministry among young women, but young people and older people that can feel their excitement and enthusiasm for their spiritual life.
Hi, my name is Imani Lee, and I'm here for Bell Media Group with B3. We have Latoya, Shelby, and also Shasha here today. How often do you guys practice?
Practice every week.
We practice every week, yes.
Yeah, and especially when we were younger and we lived together, it was all the time. The bathroom was our meeting spot. It was our studio, but it was our rehearsal hall. It was everything.
But we practice every week now. We get together, and now we have a band, so we get rehearsals in with them every week. So we try to stay on top of it, and whenever we're together, we kind of sing anyway because we're sisters. We have a natural blend already, so we kind of already know, like if she starts singing, I know where she's gonna go, so I can just jump right in with her.
Okay, now Sasha, you're the middle child, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
How is that like growing up with your sisters and you have to work with them constantly every day? How does that work for you?
I love it, even if we disagree on things, because we are, and we always do, and we always have. First of all, we're sisters, and then second of all, we are business partners.
Yeah.
So it's hard to have everybody agree on the same thing.
Yeah.
But even with singing and the producing, I would say I'm the one that gives them the hardest time. Really? And God is working on me. You know, like with direction, and my baby sister does a lot of the writing, and they'll tell me I'm off and different things like that. Sometimes it's frustrating, but you just have to take a walk, pray, but we love each other at the end of the day. Yeah. Love is the dynamic, and we get through it.
Now the album, how excited are you guys ready for the album?
Oh my God.
Super excited. We started writing for this album like in 2012. So it's been a minute. We've had these songs for a minute, and we've been itching just to get them out there, and because we've been gone for a while, but we went through a lot while we were transitioning, and it gave us more to pull from when we were writing. So we're just so excited because we know this album is really going to inspire and encourage people and uplift people, and it's just so much fun, and we love every single song that's on this CD.
Spirit, lead me where and you are mine.
This Sunday is kind of like a big deal. I'm not much of a sports fan, but I know you guys are. So we're going to bring in Professor Lipscombe so Tyrone and Professor Lipscombe can talk about Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to the Super Bowl, Tyrone, but when I had my plans on the Super Bowl at the beginning of the year, it involved the Dallas Cowboys. Did
Right.
you have somebody else in mind for the Super Bowl?
Yes, sir. My team is the Washington Redskins, sir. I had high hopes for them, but hey.
Yeah, and at least your team made the playoffs, so you were able to enjoy the season a lot longer than us Cowboys fans.
Yes.
Tyrone, I'm not going to let the fact that my team didn't make it through to the Super Bowl keep me from enjoying the game.
Right.
So I'm going to tell you what's going to happen.
Okay.
Denver Broncos are going to win. I know that's not a popular position to take around here in the
Okay.
heart of Carolina.
Right.
There's not going to be, I'm sorry, kids out there listening on Sirius XM 142 who might be at the game. You're not getting many footballs this year. This game is going to be a 35-14 win for the Denver Broncos.
Wow.
And a big game for the defense. How do you see things coming out?
Well, Mr. Lipscombe, I may have to disagree with you, sir. I may say that the outscore of this game would be 28-21 Panthers. I think Cam Newton will have enough just to get the team over the hump, and the defense will make enough stops to seal the victory. I expect big games for Cam and Peyton, but I don't know, man. The Panthers season just has been going so well, so if it's like if they don't have the Super Bowl victory, it's just like, wow. I mean, but we're going to see what's happening. We're going to see what's happening, sir. We're going to see.
Well, with all this talk on Super Bowl Sunday and football, it's making my head hurt. But all I know is I want Cam Newton to win because he's so cute. But for all you girls and guys that are out there listening on Sirius XM, please enjoy Super Bowl Sunday, and we'll be back next week to recap Super Bowl Sunday. That's all that we have for this episode on BelleAire Radio. I'm your host, Kiara Kelly.
Tyrone Lippman.
And make sure you're here every Wednesday at 4:30 p.m.